map, and then the map changes fundamentally in some way.
I mean, they do that with all. It's frustrating because they do that with all the maps, right?
Evil.
Because look at Overpass, look at Cobblestone that was active. They changed that map as well, like every 6 months. And Overpass is not even similar to how it first was when it first launched. And so I think that they also like launched maps with, it's not even, but let's see how the map runs. Let's make changes like actively. But I can agree, on a Sonic standpoint as well. Like I do think that having the changes, it does opt for the map not to be as stale, maybe. But maybe you could make the argument of like maybe you do that change of a map maybe like 1 or 2 years down the line. Pistol round is live though. Heroic starting on that T side. It's a fast round rush towards the B bomb side. Good hold so far. But it's not over yet. As I say that, though, makes it a 4-on-2. Smokes down, though. It's Cadian and Stavin alive. And they both go down. Mousesports continue their CT dominance on Vertigo here first round. On Vertigo.
Vertigo. Definitely improved for me in terms of a watching experience over a lot of those changes. I think it did find its place. And I kind of like the feel of the map.
I think it was just so I think it was just so boring when people like the whole thing of we went 95% A and like people couldn't figure out how to hold it, like you had to push and the retakes with the smokes and stuff like that. I think NIP's approach when they first started with the retake smokes and stuff like really added a more depth to the map and it taught them more teams kind of how to play it. So because of that, I agree, like this map is a little bit more fun now. Like because it's so quick on the rotates, like you can do a lot with it on T side. And same thing goes for the CT side. Not getting the bomb down on Heroic, forces them on a full eco. We'll be buying next round, but this should be a pretty easy round for Mousesports. Bonus here of not having any members going down, so they get essentially a bonus round for next.
Looking to invite Mousesports to spend some money on utility. Very expensive incendiaries, $600 for the CTs. It's a lot of monies. So a smoke like that can be common on the T side, bounced off the A site sign to help them get up towards the side and look over the smoke, especially when that normal CT smoke is down at the beginning of the round. I'll see if that plays a part in the later rounds. For now, it's Nico remaining, looking for a second kill here, but he's actually going to get it just before Rox's flank comes in. A labored kill from him, but it's actually Acor who gets the kill eventually. Lots of burst attempts, but not making enough of a connection. It's really annoying to get a kill through the floor if you're underneath that position on the side where Tessis is on the X-ray right now. Someone's above that. It's just the worst.
I mean, that whole area I feel like is a little bit buggy because there's some spots so you don't even do damage when you're trying to shoot them and you still see them and stuff, and it's just like, god damn it, like please fix this. I guess Robs went down. I was gonna say we didn't see any upgrades, but oh my god, okay, Cadian. I mean, that wasn't even intentional. The fact that he gets them there, mid-air, run and gun, fully flashed. It's gonna be a fast A ramp take, at least from Heroic. Normally we don't see teams just running straight to the bomb site, but they do like to take control of this a little bit early.
Oh, it's a war of attrition around the side of the A bomb site. Short, if you will. It was a 5 versus 3 for a time, but Karrigan will make something happen here. You can see Rob's trying to keep an eye on mid, but also looking towards the B bomb site. He's holding down 2 jobs, and he looks to commit more towards B as Mousesports are on the rotation, it seems, if you look at the radar. Can't hold everything now with just 3 players. He's spread too thin. So it seems they'll commit to something. Try and make a play here, which Rogue may be waiting for. On the timing.
Yeah, Bemis with like the right eye and distance advantage there against Storm. So it's good that Storm backed off. I don't think he would have won that fight. And 3 versus 3 now after that kill from Robs. Pretty well played from Robs, to hold down that side of the map by himself. 20 seconds for the plant. Couple smokes remaining here for the CTs, so they have a lot to work with to retake this. Oh, great pick off from Karrigan. He's going for it. A second kill found as well, making life very difficult now. Wow, I'm surprised that Carrigan went so deep for those kills. Again, given the fact that they had two smokes left with 20 seconds remaining, ready for the retake. That's amazing.
A lot of teams talk about it now. I don't know if there's a change, but I'm sure that maybe some people are starting to notice it more and more. I think the smokes were great, potentially, had they not had been there when the bomb was going down. But as soon as he starts planning, essentially it makes it a 2-on-3 situation, right? Because the bomb planner can't do anything. So them going aggressive right off the bat there and saying, like, let's just go for the plant call, that means that you create more space for the CT side there to actually get the retake done. I'm surprised about Heroic there. They get nice entries, but they kind of fall back and they lose map control. And sure, by the time that their fourth member goes down, they're forced to just rush up on A, but they're not in a position to just get in the good spots and get the bomb down because they were all the way down still on A ramp. So they fought for it, but they left it, which was a little bit weird. Normally you fight for it, you leave at least one member there and you can go back in mid and B and stuff like that and do fakes, but nice done from Mousesports, being a very aggressive.
That is an incredibly cheeky frag from Rops. And let's not forget how he started on Train. Despite it being a tough T side early on, there were some sparks of brilliance and rabid aggression. Chain of pop flashes, bomb spotted and swatted. Down it goes. Previously in the hands of Borup. Tessus and Thorn remain as a flank from Carrigan as well. Got a great sense for the game, Carrigan, and when to take liberties and make a very aggressive play. 5 versus 1. No respect being shown by Mousesports on the CT side thus far. As they head towards 4. Not much money in the hands of Heroic, as we can see. A lot of them very close to $0 before this round ends. Off angle from Carrigan, not holding the tight corner, but just off to the side. And that's a very comfortable 4-0. A Mousesports side full of confidence.
Yeah, and I would imagine that this is going to be the best way for Mousesports to start is on the CT side. I can't imagine we're going to see anything amazing from their T side, especially as this is not necessarily a map that they particularly play a lot compared to some of their other maps in their pool, as well as the fact that ACOR's in there. So it feels like Mousesports to win this map, but they're going to have a pretty big CT side, and this is a great way to start that off. So Heroic, they got to find a way to get things going, and sooner rather than later. I'm liking the confidence so far today from Carrigan. He's always had a lot of flair to his play.
That's what I was talking about. That little spot there you see there, like
very hard, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 10 damage being made. There's a little bit of gaps here and there, but very frustrating spot to start shooting at. I'm sure Carrigan was like, I don't know, he's either maybe low or like, why is he dying?
At some point, you just ignore the guy there if neither of you have an AWP and focus elsewhere. Just nod to each other. I suppose it's by design. I would imagine they probably made it more spammable, and it was just too frustrating. So I guess it's frustrating in a different way now.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you can argue that the whole side should be spammable, because if the yellow fence there is spammable on the one side, then technically, it's not full concrete, right? It's just like little steel beams with holes.
I've fired almost an entire magazine at someone from pretty much directly above them and not killed them in that spot, and I got killed by another guy, I guess the problem is it feels counterintuitive.
Because same thing here, it's the same kind of railing here, but here you do damage, you know what I mean? Yeah. Here you kind of do full damage. So I don't know. I would then rather have them change the material there, so just it's consistent with like what's wallable and what's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the main problem is it's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense in one's brain. Echo flashed off his position.
And this is what we talk about, the change of pace on Vertigo, kind of what we've seen, the difference of Heroic has been fighting a lot on A, and normally the tendency there is that you're expecting CTs to play maybe 3 towards A, but the setup here from Mousesports is that they are a little bit closer to mid. We have Rops and CT spawn here as well, so they are contesting this. 3-on-3 though. B bomb site is the one that they want.
There's enough of the steel girder to allow BMS to throw that smoke and peek afterwards, but won't get what he was looking for. Borup and Frozen remain now. Frozen elevated in that mid position. No grenades there for Borup. Quick pick goes, spot's frozen. Can't quite land the fatal connection, however. And Mousesports retain a clean sheet. 6-0 on the CT side of Vertigo. Not many kills for Heroic. Only Cadian has more than 2. So this has been a very difficult T side for them so far.
It's interesting. Frozen at the end of that round in that 1v1, I think there was maybe 40 seconds on the clock. He had a full set of nades still. I think that just goes to show that on Vertigo, on the CT side, teams are really looking to hold on to that utility for retakes.
Yeah, you have the setup, right? So you either just very much like I always use the example of Inferno B, right? Like you either spend the nades early, you take map control early, and you just start trying to kind of fight for it down in A ramp, or you don't spend a lot, right? And you use the damage nades like HEs and stuff like that. You try and do chip damage, you try and do some damage to hit the site, and then to your point, Dan, right? Like if they hit the A bomb site there, the intent should be that we have mollies and smokes left, and at least 1-2 flashbangs we can pop flash in and retake the bomb site. It does create a lot of like cool depth. I'm not sure how many people kind of that's watching had a chance to watch Tuscan, but it had a little bit more depth as well, especially in Source. With the retake scenarios and maybe opting a little bit more to leave the bomb site and play after plants and stuff. And you see the same thing on Vertigo. You can leave the A bomb site complete if you want and play retake. Same on those 2 seat side on the A bomb site. Gives teams a chance to show their teamwork and comms with retakes. I think it's always exciting to see nice crossfires and executes. This is a nice little execute from Heroic on the B bomb side. It is a half buy. Deagles and nades. As I say though, the BMAS is just okay.
That line he was holding through the fight was so important to shred the numbers as they swung, tried to trade frag, ran straight into the bullets. That significantly turned things around. Kind of curious to see how far this clean sheet can go. And he does keep it going in that round. So this line here, you can see the 2-man swing there. Continuation spray. I'm not even sure if he knew anything about that second kill.
Did Heroic have smokes there? Were they just further behind? Or did they not have smokes, just a pop flash?
I don't have the answer to your question, Robin. I'm not sure. No smoke on the ramp now from Mousesports. So there are two versions of this smoke we're seeing on the side. One of which allows you to see people's legs behind. I don't know how Acor managed to survive that. Who knows where that bullet went?
Behind the legs. Between the legs, rather.
Around the legs.
Around.
Like new science.
Typical James Bond fashion. Maybe it's Star Wars this time around. It's the slow default here. Now we talked about it to our point here when we mentioned of the different CT setups. This is either a mid-round setup from Mousesports where they will take over a ramp now when they kind of spot, and that's exactly what we kind of see, right? Some pop flashes and stuff. By the time the Heroic actually has a little bit more ramp control. But now they fall back, and now it's a full retake. And we see that on nade setups as well. Robs with Molly, Kerrigan with Molly, and we have smokes as well. So really the setup here should be to focus a little bit on mid and just wait for Heroic to kind of start their way up towards this A-bomb site.
Acor heard that Molotov, last tick of it, touched somebody, got out of there immediately. From above the ladder room, actually, you can do a Molotov that bounces off the window to clear out the corner position, which Frozen is pushing right now. There's some pop flashes as well to allow the T side to swing. There'll be flashes now as the bomb site is lost. Heroic may have a chance to get their first brand on the board after 7 failed attempts. Man advantage as the bomb gets planted. In terms of retake utility, we've got a Molotov and a flashbang for Mousesports, so it will be quite difficult. All too often we see the smokes up and plenty of spray. Cadian and Storm are very low, excuse me. Down 10 HP now, pushing forward. Point of no return. The trades will be to Heroic's advantage as Cadian looks for a flick. Pulls away now, changes his angle. Acor's elevated, but not for long. Down he goes, leaving Robson a 1 versus 3, trying to invite players. It's going to be an expensive round, and he could do with saving this AWP, but I'm not sure if he can get far away enough. He can't, because Borup will secure the first run for Heroic with a kill.
Yeah, and to your point there, James, the retake setup, I mean, it was happening, but the two guys that ended up dying from Mousesports were the two guys with the smokes. So when they went down there, the retake is essentially like a lot more harder. And for Heroic, I kind of like the setup that we kind of see, because the retake setup is very real now with the smoke walls and stuff like that. We see Heroic being a little bit more aggressive on their after plant positioning and wanting to go for a little bit more duels. Pretty common. I'm very worried about, you know, the flashbangs and smokes and just diffusing through the smoke. That's the first round on the board for Heroic.
Yeah, they need to try to string some more together, and that's a great start to that effort. We'll see the response from Mousesports. As you know, we've been talking about really holding on to their nades as much as possible. Ooh, just trying to walk into the angle, Storm ready for that one. No mid push for Mousesports. A 3 versus 5 now. You'd say that from a position like this, the ability for Mousesports to win the round has really plummeted dramatically. But still being slowed down, just, you know, because they've been able to hold on to some of those nades. Even though there's just 3 of them left, they're able to still delay.
Yeah, and despite them being 7-0 up as well, it's just a very important round from Heroic here. If we talk about a comeback, this would put Mousesports on a potential save if they were to lose this round. It's a good setup here, though, from Heroic. We see, you know, Staben, he doesn't need to go aggressive here. Literally just needs to hold this spot for potential pushes. And then here we should see the play, and then Staben now should be making his move in mid for timing here. Does go down, though, but doesn't really matter now. Heroic does have the entire A bomb site. No nades left except for a smoke on VMAS. We should be seeing a save call coming in on the hands of Mousesports, knowing as well that they don't have a lot of money left. So saving an AWP and an M4 would be an added bonus, because a double save is definitely happening here.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, actually, that when they're in the 3 versus 5, just looking at the fact that Heroic still had the ability to go anywhere, there's still a lot of utility remaining, and it kind of felt like there's a very strong argument for Mousesports to actually just save in a 3 versus 5, just go towards mid, or, you know, give yourself the option to play super defensively so you can hold onto those guns. So you'd at least be able to like save with those in the next round. And we can see here actually that Robs and Beamers will be able to carry AWPs through to the next round. So if they could have supplemented that with an additional rifle, could have had a lot to work with.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things of, because I think players, when you then give them a call, I think that they're so drilled into like, oh, we're doing this call, even if members are going down. So I think it's very difficult in situations like that to, you know, call for a save, right? That's really where you're expecting the coach or maybe even Kerrigan to jump in and be like, hey guys, like, it's not going to be winnable. We don't have any nades left. Like, we should just save. We don't have money. Might be experience, might be, you know, bad comms in some sense too. But yeah, they do end up saving 2 weapons at least. Have a tactical timeout. Guessing maybe on the hands of Mousesports. We'll see what they have in store for us here with the buy that they'll have. Like I said, it should be a double save, but since they saved 2 ops, we could potentially also see a full buy. Yep, it's exactly what we're seeing here from Mousesports. So still not a free round for Heroic. Still have to fight for this one, but the next few rounds then should be a little bit easier to grab after that.
Curious what they'll try to do with, I mean, because they don't, as you've mentioned, that they've made some concessions in terms of a lack of utility, and it's going to be difficult to play a longer drawn out round, but at the same time you have these AWPs, it's harder to get aggressive with them. So I feel like Mousesports in that sense have been pulled in 2 different directions in terms of their options.
Yeah, you talk a little bit more to your point, Dan, because you don't have enough nades for a full retake setup. You kind of talk about, you know, let's try and go for an entry or do some mid-round aggression with the flashbangs we have. And always we kind of see that it's working out, right? Like, Kerrigan was very aggressive early, he gets the entry, and then after that, it's just all, oh, he still keeps on pushing. I'm not, okay. 5-on-3 situation. Sure, we want map control, but you had 26 HP. Leaves it in a 4-on-3 now with, you know, Heroic still having a lot of utility here. So I would still say this is still a pretty good spot. As I say that, though, Heroic decides not to even flash clear any angles. So Robs is just getting 2 easy kills here.
Let's change his spot up now for what could be the final frag. Oh, he's shot the bag on the back, but he's not part of the hitbox. but BMAP will get the spray towards the end. That's one of the things about the I don't know if either of you are familiar, but like the highest tier Ts in the new operation, right? They all have the money bag backpacks on. So for me, in a way, they're unusable because they just give your position away. Of course, they're the stock models on this map. So yeah, that led to a quick shot and a miss, a swing and a miss. Anyway, let's topic for a different day. We've got a fast round from Horizon. They look for a third team in no man's land. Two of them only good for one, but Acor, that was such a fast kill from him. HG hits the ceiling. Drops trying to do what he can. This is absolute anarchy. Frozen makes his way through CT spawn. He's got support as well from Acor.
Oh, but the bomb
versus sniper. Acor switches out for the M4A4. And indeed, the bomb is the other side of these flames. And it seems that Acor will reset the situation and change his position. But once that bomb's collected by Nico, he could go anywhere as well.
Man, this is really one of those spots where, you know, both of these players, they knew where they were. Acor being very smart here. Walking all the way around. So we'll see where Nico ends up doing. Obviously, with Nico, it's always going to be a gamble here, 50-50. You have no idea where Acor is anymore. Oh man, it's such a nice play from Acor. I was gonna say from Heroic there, that mid-round take that we kind of see, I think it would have been much more successful. We kind of see the round that Mousesports wanted to do, and it wasn't an A take. They were playing a little bit more retake scenario on the A bomb side, which meant that they had 3 guys in mid. Normally, you tend to do these fast mid takes after you've played a few rounds on A and, you know, made sure that Mousesports are, you know, opting to put more members over there. It was a bow or it's a low buy nonetheless, so full AK buy here now. AWP on Cadian.
Carrigan, the aggression continues. He's been creeping through the smoke, using all the bullets. Got Frozen for support as well. Carrigan goes down eventually. Running out of bullets as well. We'll give Borup an invitation to get another kill and at least try and keep it close. 2 versus 3. Make it 2. Nichols dropped on the A-bomb site, flashes, swings from Bemis. We've got Storm trying to stay alive again, a backpack giving the position away, and then there's a swing from Borup, but Bemis is ready for it. A fast round, but it's double figures for Mousesports, 10-2 of Heroic.
And it's, again, I would say there's a little bit sloppy from Heroic, kind of expecting Mousesports not to play down in A ramp. Sure, they've been playing defensive rounds, but not really expecting that they could be down there. Puts them in a bad spot nonetheless. It's close rounds, you know, they make it down to 2-on-2s and stuff like that. We see that on Mousesports money as well. Like there's been some rounds that Heroic can absolutely have run away with. But Mousesports has been winning these close rounds. And more entries on the way for Mousesports. 5-on-3. It's only been 15 seconds of this round so far.
Nico able to find Bemis though to make things a little bit better. Carrigan creeping all over the place though. He's going to be finding Nico, and that's not a good prospect here, especially now that Cadian's fallen. Cadian almost got into the site. That would have been pretty awesome. And oh, Heroic can't seem to find that footing whatsoever on this map. I feel like we haven't even seen many retakes. Like compared to what you'd normally, I feel like you would often normally see on Vertigo.
I think Mousesports just have the number. If you look at all the rounds that Heroic have tried to do, Mousesports every single time have had a good read of stacking members on where they wanted to go. So I don't think we've seen that many tactical timeouts coming in on Heroic's hand here, maybe 1 or 2, but I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more timeouts. You know, let's talk about it a little bit more. It's not like Mousesports is just pushing everywhere and just taking a lot of map control. It comes down to like Heroic wanting to fight for space early, and they're not winning those duels. So slowing down the pace here a little bit. See what Mousesports is doing in the round. Count some nades and see if an A play is possible. If they're keeping their nades, maybe we go for a B split or a B execute late round instead. But it's another half buy here. Just Eagle armor. Some nades on Cadian and Staven, but they're being wasted right now to take some mid control. And good positioning here again. And it comes down to, just because Mousesports haven't really felt threatened on the B-bomb side at all, most cases Rob's done a really good job in defending that area, so putting a lot more emphasis on mid And it's paid off for him. Heroic's gone twice in mid, I think, and Mousesports just been ready for it.
And getting dismantled round after round. This is looking very solid for Mousesports indeed. Last round of the first half. We'll see what Heroic will bring to it in terms of tools. Again, this is, well, again, small sample size, but 80%, 4 of 5 maps won on Vertigo for Heroic. Maybe the numbers bigger than they would otherwise seem. Again, fast play, flashbangs. Agent time for the time being. Spotted over the grill by Carrigan, but traded by Nico. 4 versus 2. Maybe there's a third round in this for Heroic just yet. Acor and Demas remain. Acor taking some heat damage, if you will. Elemental damage. And noise is cut by Heroic beyond the reload of a gun. Not wanting to squander their man advantage on this occasion.
Yeah, they've got so much utility to work off of too, so they should be so fine to not have any accidents happen. I'm super curious.
Too, for Mousesports, not a lot of nades left.
Ooh, if Acor gets a pick, it does feel a lot more doable.
I think Heroic's been smart here, though, when we see where the kind of gate came from. They know normally, you know, even in a retake setup, you have the Opera just holding the A ramp. So coming from the scaffolding area, probably a little bit smarter, a little bit safer at the same time. I think this has not been many plans here on this side for Heroic. One of the few after plans that they're getting. 4-on-2 situation though. All the nades have been left now on Mousesports, nothing left, so now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Trying to do a little ninja diffuse through the smoke, but not going to happen. Oh, what? Okay.
Noble effort. A noble effort from Acor towards the end, but it will be 3 rounds for Heroic at half time. Is there anything left in the tank for them? We'll find out after the break.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of surprises, we're back, and it's a 12-3 scoreline in favor of Mousesports. Very dominant CT side. Heroic not really getting into the game at all. I think only 2 or 3 plants at most, and sure, they won the last round. We can see if they can come back here. We said the same thing about Train, so this is Heroic's map pick, but uphill battle for sure.
Very quiet stuff. Rops is the one man with grenades, and he is not with his team just now. Got 2 flashes and a Molotov. There's 1 flash, good from the mid position. But Borup and Strong will deliver. But Bemas and Aiko will turn things around 3-on-3. Made 2 as Bemas is dispatched of. Mousesports want to extend their lead, but Heroic have got to say about that. Landing some headshots with the Glock, but not being finished off just yet. Hold on a second. Rops versus Tesses. Glock versus USP. I need more than 1 shot from that range, Rops, even if he lands a headshot. But now 79 HP for Tesses. Even that will change. Waiting for the drop. Spots the shadow. Knows where he is. But can he land that fatal connection? No. Much needed pistol goes the way of Heroic and Tesses. God, that must have been nervous for Heroic.
Well, it's the start of the comeback. 12-3 is the Sonics assess that. 11-4, 12-3s. Most dangerous scorelines.
Yeah.
I can see it, especially when you lose to a pistol round like this, and if you don't get the rounds after. 3 weapon rounds is no joke.
Yeah, definitely not. It's
this is
going to be. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we don't normally see this from the T side. We don't get the bomb down. This is a little bit of a gamble buy from Mousesports, and we see that as well. Full buy, Deagle armors. Galil was dropped, I think, 4 robs there. But with this buy, they're hoping. Honestly, they were hoping to prize Heroic a little bit, get a quick entry or 2.
So there's that smoke I was talking about. Frozen bounced off the wall. Normally when the CT smoke the ramp, you'll sometimes see a team use that. Gives them a route to the position where the CTs are currently holding in TSS. Very aware of what that smoke means. Got a bounced smoke of his own, which actually connects with Frozen. That was on purpose. Oh, Mousesports having some issues now. And Heroic look to secure their second round in the second half to bring their score to 5. No kills for Mousesports just yet. Frozen and Bemis remain. Still a fair amount of time on the clock here. And some bomb plant potential. Both lurking around B. Looking for a boost now. Maybe there were some sound cues because Nico seems to have an idea. Oh, that was easy dealt with. He's frozen to phase 3, trying to fall back, and maybe there's damage to be done now. Hold on a second. Still 20 seconds. Borup's low, and he's put a Deagle out. Does he have time to reload now? Does he want to die on his sword here? 4 HP and $650. He is carrying a lot, and he will drop a lot. 5th round for Heroic.
I kind of feel like I feel like overtime's a likely prospect. Just sort of thinking about how things went on Train. Just how lost Mousesports found themselves on Train on the T side. And given that this is a map that Heroic, they do like playing this map. They've got a great success rate on this map. It does feel like that is on the cards, but we'll have to see if they can, get that momentum first, and that's really what it's about. It's about Mousesports, first like 2 or 3 gun rounds, just them not finding the right answers. Crashing towards A, easily dealt with. Of course, it is just some deeks.
I don't know why you do. Like, it's one of those things that, like, you're a little bit too cocky, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to spray through the smoke. They're on eco, you have an SMG. Like, if anything, I would even prefer to you just run through the smoke with the flash, rather than do that.
Right, yeah. There's like this sense of safety that you think you have, and you could get that lucky kill, and it's not worth it. Especially with
there's so many people that does that, like the tendency of like shooting through smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be careful. The closer you are to the smoke, the easier it is to punish.
I feel like Robs and Acor could win this. You know, like these two guys with the Eagles, it just takes that one kill, a bit of extra position, space to find the plant, pick up a smoke, perhaps.
Oh my god.
That shot and another one coming through from Acor, and this is what we're talking about. Oh, Acor, he's going for another one. He is feeling it, but he's left Robson a 2 versus 1. 1 versus 2. He doesn't have the time, unfortunately. Had Acor maybe stayed alive, maybe Ross would have had some space to work with. But that's a lot of damage economically. If nothing else, that was a huge win for Mousesports.
Yeah, never count out the Eagles. Holy moly. No armor as well. All you need is some nice 1Ds.
The jiggle peeking from Acor in that round was extremely difficult to deal with from everyone else's perspective. Well, they've laid some groundwork to capitalize on that a bit later. And the wide swing from Acor, making it look very easy indeed. Going for the third one, not quite hitting the mark.
He would have landed that too if it was for the crouch. That was right on the head for the third. Well, but yeah, it comes down like that was a much close round. Sure, Acor, nice round there, but you could argue that maybe, you know, Kaden go down early there. Kind of had maybe some of the outcome there. Nice early start here from Heroic. Fighting for the A ramp that we talked about. And we saw the same thing on the Mousesports side, on that CT side, but they had a little bit more, they also had just as much of a success. So not a good start here from Mousesports on the T side. 5-on-3. A lot of nades still left though, but hoping for a mistake here from Heroic.
Yeah, it's the second round in a row where Heroic have got some kills at the bottom of the ramp. Of course, one of those was Eco, but definitely know their angles around these smoke grenades, so these are warning sign for Mousesports in the round to come. Rops has made an entry onto the B-bomb site. Separated for now with utility. 55 seconds on the clock for Mousesports. And these chain flashes are very successful. Nico dropped and still unable to reply, but on the second attempt, down goes Frozen. 2 versus 3 in favor of Heroic. Trying to buy some time with flashes, but the bomb has been planted.
A lot of damage being done here as well. On Mousesports, 13 HP on Robs, 39 on Beamus, stuck on the bomb site. An added bonus at least, they got the bomb down, so like they fought for the site. But this is a very, very tough situation to be in if you're Robs. 1-on-3 now. Diffuse is on. He does spot the barrel. Oh my god, okay. For some reason there, I mean, in another reality, right, another dimension, that could have been a triple kill. Non-scope triple kill. Shoots the operator, he gets all 3 instead.
Yeah, and right now it already feels like Mousesports are finding more and more ways to gain more and more ground on this T side, more so than Heroic. It feels like they're more dangerous than Heroic were. That Mousesports were able to eke out those picks and find those frags in ways in which, you know, relies more on that individual element, but that's working for them. Whereas Heroic, I think, had a more tactical approach on their T side, and it wasn't quite hitting the mark as they'd like. However, at the beginning of this round, as we can see, Acor's not going to find too much love towards the A ramp. Tess is holding it down as well, but Karrigan forces the issue, actually wins that battle somehow. And that's going to create a lot of opportunities, I feel like, for Mousesports here. There's lots of time on the clock for them to play with, to really exploit this man advantage. That said, it's a man advantage it is no longer.
Yeah, I do wonder between these two teams who this favors now, because Cadian's been prolific in these early rounds on the A-bomb site, on and around the A-bomb site, and indeed, Heroic have been catching up pretty damn quickly. There's another one for Cadian, finally taking some significant damage though. Plenty of sound cues, which allows Mousesports to go up the ramp somewhat cheaply. They know he's fallen back, not how far exactly, but definitely giving him some breathing room. Utility heading up, the rotation coming through for Heroic. Still with a man advantage. Now there they plant the bomb. There's a great incendiary to delay. Used to be able to wallbang that spot through those orange boxes, but I think that was removed many moons ago. Another flick from Storn and BMS now on a 1 versus 3. Worst case, he's got to do some more damage if he can. More smokes are up, and that can invite variance for either side. Limited variance that Beamers can take, though. CT starting to swing. Got to get into the trade track situation. There's a nice burst on the first player. Cadian, he's low. 1v1 now as Forup is around that smoke. But if he's going to bomb just yet, but it's their time to defuse it. I think he's got it. Just about.
Oh man, such a close round. To answer your question, James, you can still wall the default bomb plant. You can wall the left one. To my knowledge, that was way too close for comfort. Still around on the board from Heroic, so we talk about the comeback. It's still very much alive. 12-8 now. Mousesports with yet to get a round on the T side. 5 in favor of Heroic here so far. Money though is not looking great. It's been a lot of close rounds, so and I think Mousesports knows it. It's gonna be one of those half where we're probably gonna be just seeing continuous buys if CT's gonna be this low on money. Oh, wow, he gets away.
Yeah, he's falling back. He's able to do so safely, and he might actually get a pick off of this. It's unfortunate, but his teammates are able to capitalize. Cadian on the other angle, and Mousesports maybe regretting that mid push, struggling to gain ground, struggling to really do anything at this point.
I've never seen Cadian look better with the AWP than he does at the moment. No hesitation.
That's what I mean. I feel like the break, for him last year, he's been around the block for a long time, but I do think that this team, and especially Cadian, had a breakout year last year. He's been very consistent. He's been one of the best performers as well on that team. Very smart player overall. Just the fact that he started adding a little bit more, cockiness to his arsenal. I think he used to be a little bit more passive in his early stages, but have a lot more space in this team.
They've brought this back so fast, and these AWPs are absolutely dominant for Heroic. Almost uncontested. And if you look at the money on Heroic in this round, it's a key round for Mousesports. If they can break their money and just get them off these AWPs, it could potentially be a very different half, but they're unable to do so ultimately. And they find themselves on pistols again.
And we see the same thing. We see the tendency on Train as well, right? Mousesports were struggling on their T side on Train. So was Heroic. Same thing here on this map now. We had Heroic struggling on their T side on Vertigo, and we kind of see the same from Mousesports. So I think both of these two teams showing some nice moves here on the CT side, but definitely have been struggling getting control of getting some T rounds on the board. Half by now from Mousesports. No nades, just deagles and armors. Again, we talk about economy, so this is just trying to keep doing some damage on Heroic, keeping their economy low.
I wonder if with the models on this particular map, with the loot bags on their back, if they could, if players use those to deliberately make shots, because it's not part of their hitbox. If you can just show that by rotating and basically going arse first in a jiggle to bait a shot. I wonder how many people would fall for that. Nico's fallen to the deagle from Frozen.
It's a good start. They still don't have any nades though, so getting a bomb site and getting a bomb down is going to be difficult. But just the fact that they have armor here, I mean, all it takes is one shot to the dome. And we kind of know as well, they don't have mollies, and Borup is in a great spot here. We'll see if they're going to clear him out. And even Tessus is here at the same time. So this is going to be a very difficult push for Mousesports without any nades. A headshot needs to be in order, but it's not going to happen. Great hold from Heroic. Nice crossfire.
Well, it's starting to get a little bit scary. That's for certain. And sort of that, do you get a sense that Mousesports are sort of struggling to find the right approach here? Because it feels like for me that there's been some situations where it just comes down to winning that one extra fight, and I feel like Mousesports have shown that there's a lot of individual capacity to do that, but they just haven't quite had the fortune go their way just yet.
They need to stop losing the early fight for sure. Nico is going to get one for free. Maybe simply better prepared Heroic. They've won every round in this half so far. Bear in mind, they started this half 3-12. Now they're at 10, and Mousesports are no better. And again, Mousesports are losing a lot of men early. They're going down to 4 versus 5 or worse in almost all of these rounds.
And that same tendency we saw with Heroic, losing a lot of members early on their T side. Outcome is the same in terms of the approach. It's a little bit different, but same thing there. I would say that Mousesports is definitely struggling the way that Heroic is of, you know, figuring out rotations from CT side and getting to a point where you actually are in potentially a mad advantage and getting the bomb down. Oh, he spots the barrel.
There we go. Catches bar up on the rotation. Oh my god!
Ouch.
How dare you shoot me through the steel girder? And then there was Rops. Maybe they can use this time as a timeout because this will be round number 8 of failure. Again, Heroic are just getting so many early picks, especially towards the A bomb sites. Yeah, a flank at the beginning of the round. Very bizarre stuff, but very successful from Heroic, playing with complete supreme confidence.
And this is really the worst case for Mousesports. So we thought, oh, okay, even more so a worst case for Mousesports. Rob's dying there at the end of the time. But we talked about how close Heroic was to potentially getting to a point where they're money starved and having to save. But the last few rounds here have been very dominant from Heroic. Starting to even get the money up and running here, which does not bode well from Mousesports. Having to win, string more than one round together now to force Heroic on a save. We'll see how this map progresses throughout the year. I think CTs have a little bit of the upper hand right now, at least from what I've seen so far with Vertigo this year.
Tessus just not shy is he at all. That's an aggressive position. But it's up to Mousesports to give them a reason not to play like this, and so far that's been lacking in this half.
All-out warfare here on A ramp once again, and the trades go really well for Heroics. It's pretty much the same story as for the Huge so far. Robs would do well to do some economic damage and try to help set Mousesports up for some of these rounds that are to come. Oh, there we go. It just takes one round. It just takes one gun round here for Mousesports, and they can start getting backed. You know, they can start building back.
Problem is,
build back
got over 11k now. They got so much money from these rounds. Since there was that earlier round where Heroic were kind of low and they just deleted Mousesports, they've built up so much cash. They're in a strong position for the time being, by every measure, Heroic.
And I would love for Mousesports here, like we talk about fast round, I would say unless you go towards, like, for example, mid, it's a very hard map to go very fast on. And with Heroic throwing the default smokes in here and really fighting for a ramp here, I was going to say I would have loved for Mousesports to maybe pace them a little bit more. But this is a good start at least.
Yeah, that's new.
That is
for Mousesports.
And they also got map control, forcing Heroic to fall back now. So this is probably one of the better starts we've seen Mousesports in.
Cadian's in the smoke by the sandbags, if I'm not mistaken, which will be an interesting play later on.
He should have a teammate. Nico doesn't have a smoke for him either, and who's number 0? Staven does have one for Cadian. I think the worrisome part for Cadian to stay here is that you tend to, if you have one molly left on the T side, you do tend to throw that by sandbags. But he does fall back.
Nice lurk smoke from Carrigan, cutting off the middle of mid. Cadian still taking pot shots though. Carrigan's got to be very careful. Looking for the transfer onto Nico. Extreme aggression from Carrigan. Has he done enough? 4 versus 3. Bomb needs to be collected. It will be by Rops. 40 seconds remain as Frozen making inroads on the A bomb site.
Smokes, you assure the cross for that plant. Very limited utility here for Heroic. They're going to have to hit some shots. Oh no! Nico finds 2 off that one burst. And that could be horrible here for Frozen and Bemis. Starting to lose ground, starting to lose options and time. And that Molotov only serving to make matters worse here for Bemis. That leaves him with no options, in fact. I don't think he's going to have any time to plant. He's going to try to force the issue. Fakes it. Forces out one. And he has, just enough time to get the plant in here. Bemis could still win this round. Oh, there's the peak. Straight away. Very confident, but Storm will have him and the rounds.
Nothing going the way of Mousesports. At least they can buy again thanks to the bomb plant, but man, that 2K on the ramp was absolutely ridiculous. Not sure if he knew anything about that second kill, but either way, the result is the same. No rounds for Mousesports in this half just yet. And it's 10 rounds in a row for Heroic. They've done more than come back. They've taken the lead now. Perhaps this is the pressure Mousesports needed to try and convert something, but they are running out of rounds to lose here on Vertigo.
Oh man, what an important round. Like the clutching going on there. That would have been so huge for Mousesports. And where does that really leave them? This is great resilience here. A very important grind, of course, for Mousesports. Looking to force that third map of... Heroic, I should say. Looking to force that third map, which would be Mirage, which would, I think, it would perhaps be by far the best map of this series if we do get there.
Well, there's a big buy for both squads. No snipers for Mousesports. They've avoided losing a man early, but still 2 AWPs creep on Vertigo for Heroic. Mousesports need to figure out what kind of configuration there might be without it costing them players. You can see Karrigan showing presence towards that A-bomb site. Again, there are support grenades from above the ladder which can be thrown. There's a 3-man lineup. Karrigan now with a cheeky play, finds second, spots the third, almost takes Nico down as well. Has he done his job? Is that enough this time? Maybe Bemis sees the rotation, but he can't take out Borup towards B. And the numbers are tied again.
Rob's the creep through mid. Borup actually... Oh, does he have any idea about this? No, he does not. That's a huge kill. The pressure now on that defense on A is really enormous. So you can see that will split the attention away. Cadian coming across. Worried about Robs, but they can't really worry too much about it. They'll ignore his position for now, understanding that the rotation's on that B site. And that's a great pickup. Cadian keeping the dream alive here for Heroic. Nico holding that flank from mid as well. Robs goes down, and these Orbs are really doing all the work. All the work they need to. Frozen still there, looking to give Mousesports a chance here. Another clutch situation. 10 seconds, really, it's just going to be forced to go for the plant. Is there an angle that Nico can find here in time? Not just yet, but eventually Nico finds it and gets everything that he needs. And Heroic, again, they're winning these clutches.
11 rounds in a row. Not a single T round so far for Mousesports. And what a comeback as well. 12-3. Caster Curse might be real here because I said that. Surprise me if Mousesports just come back and win 16-14, but
I don't know, man. I don't know. These
yeah, I mean, it's worrisome.
Worrisome. There were so many dry jiggles they were forced into. Just for information, it looks like a very tough spot for them on the T side, not just in terms of score, but how these rounds are playing out. Karrigan now, and let's not forget his entries on the A-bomb side in the previous round. Has he spotted Nico here? He hasn't seen him at all, but he still gets a kill eventually. And of course, one of the AWPs to trade. No one else in position just yet. Really trying to create some space for his team, Karrigan. Dying first, he can now lead the remainder, but can they get any rounds in this half?
He should be traded here, but what he knows. Nice shot from Acor though. 4-on-3. I said it, Caster Curse might be real here. It's an actual good position to be in here now if you're Mousesports. They have B control here at the same time. Heroic rotating over to mid and A. Bomb is still not there yet, though, so there's still a possibility. But these positions from Mousesports, I mean, very, very difficult spot to be in here now if you're Heroic to retake this. What?
Oh, on the back. Perfect timing. he thought Caden was cheating. He was lining up a grenade. Well, 1 versus 2 now. Surely this is the round. Surely, if there's to be just a 1 round, it has to be this one for Mousesports. 2 rounds behind now. Cadian trying to isolate a fight, but Acor's in trade frag position. It's in pre-fire from Cadian. Bait's not taken just yet. Bemis facing the wrong way now, going around the corner. Finally, Mousesports get their opening round in the second half, and it's almost over.
And it's on the back of at least Carrigan getting the entry there on A ramp, and then them actually contesting and fighting for it. And in the same process, you know, because Mousesports hasn't had a very successful T side, this is why you see the over-rotate coming from Heroic as well. Like, they leave a lot of gaps open. And for Mousesports, just walks into the red carpet on the B-bomb side, gets the first round on the board. There was some damage being done, though. We talked about the economy from the Heroic side, and they were building up to it, but Mousesports are close. They're going to look back at this game even and say, like, they've been so starved for money, Heroic. All we needed was, you know, to string 2 rounds together, and we would have been in a much better spot.
So true. Exchange once again on a ramp. Carrigan, once again, loves to be the guy that goes in first. Loves to get the action started, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Taking down Cadian, creates a lot of space all the way on the site. Doesn't care about Tessus, leaves them in his wake. Sitting there at the top of the A ramp, still causing problems as Tessus, but Carrigan can swing around to deal with him, surely. And that's exactly what will happen. Nice shot from Storm, but so much to do here. Has to get the ace clutch to win the rounds. That's what he needs to do.
I mean, it really comes back to, I mean, this is insane. I mean, this round, that absolutely Carrigan, but even last round, I'd argue, you know, him taking control here and going a little bit more aggressive. Sure, Acre does go down, but as we know on the map, just now that the fact that they know where Stalvin is, bomb goes down on the B-bomb site. We're 100% going to see a chase here. We know as well that they are not in good shape in the money department from Heroic, so Stalvin saving this AWP definitely wants to do that.
Yeah, it's not great for Mousesports either, but they could really do with taking the SORP away. So many places he could be there. There we go. And they could pick up that AWP as well for Acor because, again, Mousesports are also a little bit brocus pocus, but they have taken the money away from Heroic at a very crucial time. And again, it's one of those halves where, as difficult as it has been, this is a crucial spot. And Carrigan's just running wild, just W everywhere. Deleting players left and right, taking absolute liberties, and that's got to be really frustrating for Heroic. Just an outrageous play from Carrigan to keep his team in the game. Almost a complete eco from Heroic. 2 flashes for Cadian for the A ramp, it seems. Oof, that's not too shabby a start, but they definitely don't want to lose 2 weapons here. One must be careful. Here come the steps. There's the flash, frozen with the continuation spray. Can't see much of anything. Acor's got to get out of there. Join the team. Keep the weapons away from the opponent. Just the one now in Cadian with the USP. They're about to concede match points. What a situation.
It's all after the caster curse was real. Apologize, Heroic fans. Still a possibility, though. Always enough for this round, but 15-14. It's still going to be a decent buy here for Heroic next.
I mean, I felt like we were going to see an overtime earlier. That's what I was going with. So we'll have to see if that comes to fruition here. That is pretty much the situation that, of course, Heroic are going to have to be in to keep this game going, keep their chances going in this series. Of course, if you are just joining us, Mousesports, they had a great game of train when they got to the CT side, of course, but Vertigo is looking like it was just hopeless for Mousesports after their first half. Like, what a weird 2 maps in that sense.
Yeah, and even now when a timeout's going to be called, and here's the worrisome part if you're Heroic, because the problem that you've had the last 2 rounds that Mousesports ended up winning was that you have to find a way to stop Carrigan on the A ramp the problem if you're Heroic here now too, and when the conversation's happening with the Mousesports camp over here right now, is like, maybe we just fake it, right? Like, what are the odds of them rushing out mid now, for example, because they're thinking that Heroic's just going to stick 3 guys on day ramp right off the bat. A lot of different outcomes could be played now this round, so it's going to be exciting to see what we talk about and the approach. But I think the biggest thing here is really not allowing Kerrigan to just keep on walking up there, and if he does, then let's make sure that we play a little bit more retake, just so he doesn't drop the entry.
Importantly, there's no sniper rifles for Heroic. They've been instrumental in this half. Instrumental in the angles that Heroic have found. And maybe that changes the dynamic in terms of Kerrigan's aggression on this A bomb site as well. We may see more of a crossfire situation. We can see Tessus hasn't gone this deep this time.
It's the same. He does the same.
Yeah, he's doing it quietly on this occasion. Step has been made though. Nico, oh god, he's still going to get deleted. Kerrigan creating space, trying to pull rotation over. Some HEs towards the side as well. That's a meaty one for Tessus. 3.5 men remaining for Heroic, and it's just Kerrigan they have information on.
I can't believe he's allowed to do that again, even on timing as well. And Kerrigan, he's going to get his 3rd! Oh my god! That's a flash from Cadium. Want to do a mid-round take there, losing the entry, needs to take the A-ram back, throws the flashbang, but Kerrigan's great position. Sure, it's a team effort, maybe, but I mean, honestly, Kerrigan wins this map in favor of Mousesports. The last 3 rounds that they need, all in the hands of Kerrigan.
That's absolutely fantastic from Mousesports and Kerrigan. He's pretty happy with himself, and how could he not be? Exceptional plays from Kerrigan on the A bomb site. Talk about entries. Utterly ridiculous, and that's got to be gutting for Heroic. A long way back, only to be pipped at the post by Kerrigan.
Yeah, how many entry frags